The potato is a root vegetable native to the Americas, a starchy tuber of the plant Solanum tuberosum, and the plant itself is a perennial in the nightshade family, Solanaceae. Wild potato species originating in modern-day Peru can be found throughout the Americas, from Canada to southern Chile. Oh god, I'm really fucking doing this, aren't I? The potato was originally believed to have been domesticated by Native Americans independently in multiple locations, but later genetic testing of the wide variety of cultivators from all species traced a single origin for potatoes in the area of present-day southern Peru and extreme northwestern Bolivia. Potatoes were domesticated approximately 10,000 years ago. They're from a species in the Solanum complex. Indiana is region of South America, where the species is indigenous. My brain is all over the fucking place. It's almost 3 in the goddamn morning. Okay, here we go. Some close relatives of the potato are cultivated. Potatoes were introduced to Europe from the Americas in the second half of the 16th century by the Spanish. Today they are a staple food in many parts of the world, Ireland, and an integral part of much of the world's food supply. As of 2014, potatoes were the world's 4th largest food crop after maize, corn, wheat, and rice. Following millennia of selective breeding, there are now over 5,000 different types of potatoes. Over 99,000 are presently cultivated. Potatoes worldwide descend from varieties that originated in lower and southern central Chile. That's my best Irish accent. The importance of the potato as a food source and culinary ingredient varies by region and is still changing. The range in the central crop in Europe, especially northern and eastern Europe, where per capita production is still the highest in the world. The most rapid expansion in production over the past few decades has occurred in southern and eastern Asia, with China and India leading the world in overall production as of 2018. Goddamn, I went from old man narrator to Irish to posh British accent, okay. Like the tomato, the potato is a nightshade in the genus Solanum. The vegetative and the fruiting parts of the potato contain the toxin solanine, which is dangerous for human consumption. Normal potato tubers that have been grown and stored properly produce glycocolloids, amounts small enough to be negligible to human health. But if grain sections of the plant, namely sprouts and skins, are exposed to light, the tuber can accumulate a high enough concentration of glycocolloids to affect human health. Etymology. The English word potato comes from Spanish patata, the name used in Spain. Oh boy, how curious. The Spanish word is used in Spain. That's fucking amazing. The Royal Spanish Academy says the Spanish word is a hybrid of the Taino batata, sweet potato, and Quechua papa, potato. They originally referred to the sweet potato, although the two plants are not closely related. Why the fuck are they both potatoes? 16th century English herbalist John Gerard heard sweet potatoes as common potatoes and used the term bastard potatoes. Well, that's not nice. Potatoes have feelings. And Virginia potatoes for the species we now call potato. Fun fact, potatoes were originally called potatoes. In many of the chronicles of detailing agriculture and plants, no distinction is made between the two. Potatoes are occasionally referred to as Irish potatoes or white potatoes in the United States to distinguish them from sweet potatoes. The name spud for potato comes from digging of soil or hole prior to the planting of potatoes, or what has an unknown origin and was originally in 1440 used as a term for a short knife or dagger, primarily related to the Latin spad, a word root meaning sword. Compare Spanish as spada, English spade, and espadrón. It subsequently transferred to a variety of digging tools around 1845. The name referred to the tuber itself, the first record of the usage being in New Zealand English. New Zealand? Did I just say New Zealand? New Zealand English. The origin of the word spud has been erroneously attributed to an 18th century activist group dedicated to keeping the potato out of Britain, calling itself the Society for the Prevention of the Unwholesome Diet, aka Heresy. See, why would you deny yourself the sweet, succulent spuds? It was Mario Pay's 1949 Story of Language that can be blamed for the word's false origin. Pay writes, the potato, for its part, was in disrepute some centuries ago. Some Englishmen who did not fancy potatoes formed the Society for the Prevention of Unwholesome Diet. It was the main one title gave rise to spud, most like other pre-20th century acronymic origins. This is false. There's evidence that a Society for the Prevention of Unwholesome Diet ever existed. Okay, we have a lot more reading to go. Oh my fucking god. Okay. Character experiments are herbaceous perennials that grow about 16 centimeters, 24 inches high, depending on variety, with leaves dying back after flowering and fruiting in tuber formation. They bear white, pink, red, blue, or purple flowers with yellow stamens. In general, the tubers of varieties with white flowers have white skins, while those of varieties with colored flowers tend to have pinkish skins. Potatoes are mostly cross-pollinated by insects such as bumblebees, which carry pollen from other potato plants, so a substantial amount of self-fertilizing occurs as well. Tubers form a response to a decreasing day length, although this tendency has been minimized in commercial variety. After flowering, potato plants produce small green fruits that resemble green cherry tomatoes, each containing about 300 seeds. In all parts of the plant except tubers, the fruit contain the toxic alkaloid solanin, and are therefore, or solanine, it's probably pronounced solanine, whatever. Alkaloid solanine, and are therefore unsuitable for consumption. Only potato varieties are grown from seeds. Also called true potato seed or TPS, or botanical seed, to distinguish it from seed tubers. New varieties grown from seed can be propagated vegetatively by planting tubers. Pieces of tubers cut to include at least 1 or 2 eyes, or cuttings are practiced using greenhouses for the production of healthy seed tubers. Plants propagated from tubers are clones of the parent, whereas those propagated from seed produce a range of different varieties. Genetics. There are 5,000 potato varieties worldwide. Oh god, here we go. 3,007 are found in the Andes alone, mainly in Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, Chile, Colombia. Among to 8 or 9 species, depending on the taxonomic school. Apart from the 5,000 cultivated varieties, there are about 200 wild species and subspecies, many of which can be crossbred with cultivated varieties. Crossbreeding has been done repeatedly to transfer resistances to certain pests and diseases from the gene pool of wild species to the gene pool of cultivated potato species. Genetically modified varieties have met public resistance in the United States and European Union. The major species grown worldwide is Solanum tuberosum, a tetraploid with 48 chromosomes. I'm slowly fucking losing my grip on the reality. Why am I reading the entire Wikipedia page for fucking potatoes for fucking spuds? All this just for some fucking spuds. Why am I reading the entire fucking Wikipedia page for potatoes? Why did I decide to do this? In modern varieties, species are the most widely cultivated. There are also 4 diploid species with 24 chromosomes: S. denotomum, S. ferregia, S. guineocalyx, S. ajanhuriri. There are 2 triploid species with 36 chromosomes: S. and S. And there is 1 pentaloid cultivated species with 60 chromosomes, S. catilobum. There are various species, Solanum tuberosum, Andigena, and or Andean, or Tuberosum, or Chilean. The Andean potato is adapted to the short day conditions prevalent. Okay. In mountainous, equatorial, and tropical regions where it originated, the Chilean potato, however, native to the Chiloe archipelago, is adapted to the long day conditions prevalent in the higher Atlantic region of southern Chile. The International Potato Center, based in Lima, Peru, holds an ISO-accredited collection of potato germplasm. The International Potato Genome Sequencing Consortium announced in 2009 that they had achieved a draft sequence of actually, no, imagine being the founder of the International Potato Genome Sequencing Consortium. Sim, you have dedicated your entire fucking life to spuds. My guy, like, goddamn. Yeah, she's draft through the potato genome, genosis, contains 12 chromosomes and 86 million base pairs, making it a medium-sized plant genome. More than 99% of all current varieties of potatoes currently grown are direct descendants of subspecies that once grew in the lowlands of southern central Chile. Nonetheless, genetic testing of the wide variety of cultivars and wild species affirms that all potato subspecies derive from a single origin in the area of present-day southern Peru and extreme northwestern Bolivia from a species of the Solanum myrmicole complex. The Wild Crop Wild Relatives pre-breeding project encourages the use of wild relatives in breeding programs, enriching and preserving the gene bank to make potatoes adaptive to diverse environmental conditions. To see it's a pressing issue due to climate change. Most modern potatoes grown in North America arrive through European settlement, not independently from the South American sources. So, although at least one wild potato species, Solanum fendleri, naturally ranges from Peru into Texas. That's as long. Whereas using breeding for resistance to a nematode species, fucking nematode! Species that attacks cultivated potatoes, a secondary center of genetic variability of the potato is Mexico, where important wild species that have been used extensively in modern breeding are found, such as the hexaploid, Solanum demissum, as a source of resistance to the devastating late blight disease known relative native to this region. Solanum bulbocastanum has been used to genetically engineer potatoes to resist potato blight. Potatoes yield abundantly with little effort and adapt diversely to diverse climates as long as the climate is cool and moist enough for plants to gather sufficient water from the soils to form the starchy tubes. Potatoes do not keep very well in storage and are vulnerable to moles that feed on the stored tubers and quickly turn them rotten, whereas crops such as grain can be stored for several years with low risk of rot. The food energy yield of potatoes about 95 gigajoules per hectare. Okay. 9.2 million kilocalories. What the fuck are kilocalories? I've never heard of that unit of measurement before. Per acre is higher than that of maize. Maize 78 gigajoules. Joules per hectare, or 7.5 times 10 to the 6th power kcal acre. Rice 77 kg / HA, or 7.4 times 10 to the 6th power kcal acre. Wheat 31 kg GJ JHA, or 3 times 10 to the 6th power. Soybeans 29 GJ HA, or 2.8 times 10 to the 6th power kcal acre. Like how I gave up trying to say what they were properly, just went with kcal acre. Varieties. There are close to 4,000 varieties of potato, including common commercial varieties, each of which has a specific agricultural or culinary attributes, not abilities. Over 80 varieties are commercially available in the UK. In general, varieties are categorized into a few main groups based on common characteristics. such as russet potatoes, red, brown, scram, red potatoes, white potatoes, yellow potatoes, also called Yukon potatoes, and purple potatoes. For culinary purposes, varieties are often differentiated by their waxiness. Floury or mealy baking potatoes have more starch, 20 to 22%, than waxy boiling potatoes, 16 to 18%. The distinction may also arise from variation. The comparative ratio of two different potato starch compounds, amylose and amylopestin. Amylose, a long-chain molecule, diffuses from the starch granule when cooked in water and lends itself to dishes where the potato is mashed. Varieties that contain a slightly higher amylopestin content, which is a highly branched molecule, help the potato retain its shape after being boiled in water. Potatoes that are good for making potato chips or potato crisps are sometimes called chipping potatoes, which means they meet the basic requirements of similar varietal characteristics, being firm, fairly clean, and fairly well shaped. The European Cultivated Potato Database is an online collaborative database from potato variety descriptions that is updated in Maytime with the Scottish Agricultural Science Agency. Within the framework of the European Cooperative Programme for Crop Genetic Research networks run by, or the ECPGR, run by the International Plant Genetic Resource Institute, IPGRI. Pigmentation. Dozens of potato cultivars have been selectively bred to the skin, or more commonly flesh color, including gold, red, and blue varieties that contain varying amounts of phytochemicals, including carotenoids for gold, yellow, or polyphenols for red or blue cultivars. Carotenoid compounds include provitamin A, alpha, carotene, and beta-carotene, which are current to the essential nutrient vitamin A. During digestion, anthocyanins that sounds worryingly close to cyanide, mainly responsible for red or blue pigmentation in potato cultivars, and have nutritional significance for use for visual, writing, consumer appeal. In 2010, potatoes were bioengineered specifically for these pigmentation traits. Genetic research has produced several genetically modified varieties. New Leaf, owned by Monsanto Company, I know Monsanto, not a lot of people like Monsanto, incorporates genes from Bacillus thuringiensis, which confers resistance to the Colorado potato beetle, and New Leaf Plus and New Leaf Y, approved by U.S. regulatory agencies during the 1990s, also include resistance to viruses. Here's McDonald's, Burger King, Frito-Lay, and Procter & Gamble announced that they would not use genetically modified potatoes, and Monsanto published its intent to discontinue the line in March 2001. Waxy potato varieties produce two main kinds of potato starch, amylose and amylopestin, the latter of which is most industrially useful. BASF developed the amflora potato, which was modified to express antisense RNA to inactivate the gene for granule bond starch synthase, an enzyme which catalyzes the form of amylose. Amflora potatoes therefore produce starch consisting of almost entirely of amylopestin, and are thus more useful for starch industry. In 2010, the European Commission cleared the way for amflora to be grown in European Union for industrial purposes only, not for food. Nevertheless, under EU rules, individual countries have the right to decide whether they allow this potato to be grown on their territory. Commercial planting of amflora was expected in Czech Republic and Germany in spring of 2010, in Sweden and the Netherlands in subsequent years. Another GM potato variety developed by BASF is Fortuna, which is made resistant to late blight by adding two resistant genes, BLB1 and BLB2, which originate from Mexican wild potato Solanum bulbocastanum. In October 2011, BASF requested cultivation and marketing approval as a feed and food from the EFSA in 2012. GMO development in Europe was stopped by BASF. In November 2014, USDA approved a genetically modified potato developed by Junior Simplot Company, which contains genetic modifications that prevent bruising, produce less acrylamide when fried than conventional potatoes. The modifications do not cause new proteins to be made, but rather prevent proteins from being made via RNA interference. The potato was first domesticated and raised in modern-day southern Peru and northwestern Bolivia by pre-Columbian farmers along Lake Titicaca. Titicaca. Interesting name for a lake. It has since spread around the world and become a staple crop in many countries. The earliest archaeologically verified potato tuber remains have been found in the coastal site of Ancon, central Peru, dating to 2500 BC. The most widely cultivated variety is Solanum tuberosum, white wither tuberosums. Since they got their multiplying, is indigenous to the Chiloe archipelago and has been cultivated by the local indigenous people since before the Spanish conquest. According to conservative estimates, the production of potato was responsible for a quarter of the growth of population and urbanization between 17 and 1900s. In the Altiplano, potatoes provided this principal energy source for the Inca civilization. Its predecessor and its successor, following Spanish conquest of the Inca Empire, the Spanish introduced the potato to Europe in the second half of the 16th century, part of the Columbian Exchange. The staple was subsequently conveyed by European mariners to territories and ports throughout the world. The potato was slow to be adopted by European farmers, but soon enough became an important food staple and field crop that played a major role in the European 19th century population boom. However, lack of genetic diversity due to very limited number of varieties initially introduced left the crop vulnerable to disease. In 1845, a plant disease known as late blight caused by the fungus, like Phytophthora infestans spread rapidly through the poor communities of Western Ireland, as well as parts of the Scottish Highlands, resulting in the crop failures that led to the Great Irish Famine. Thousands of varieties still persist in the Andes, however, where over 100 cultivars might be found in a single valley. And a dozen or more may be maintained by a single agricultural household. 2018 world production of potatoes was 368 million tons, led by China with 27% of the total. Other major producers were India, Russia, Ukraine, and the United States. It remains an essential crop in Europe, especially Northern and Eastern Europe, where per capita production is still the highest in the world, but the most rapid expansion over the past few decades has occurred in Southern and Eastern Asia. A raw potato is 79% water, 17% carbohydrate, 88% of which is starch, 2% protein, and contains negligible fat. A 100 gram, 3.5 ounce portion, raw potato provides 322 kilojoules, almost 77 kilocalories of food energy, and is a rich source of vitamin B6 and vitamin C, 23 and 24% of the daily value respectively, with no other vitamins or minerals in significant amounts. See table. The potato is rarely eaten raw because potato starch is poorly digested. By humans, when the potato is baked, its contents of B6 and vitamin C decline notably, while there's significant change in the amount of other nutrients. Potatoes are often broadly classified as having a high glycemic index. Errors are often excluded from the diets of individuals trying to follow a low GI diet. The GI of potatoes can vary considerably depending on the cultivar or cultivar categories such as red, russet, white, or King Edward. Conditions storage preparation methods by cooking method, whether it is eaten hot or cold, whether it is mashed or cubed or consumed whole. And accompanying foods consumed, especially the addition of various high-fat or high-protein toppings, in particular consuming a reheated or cool potatoes that were previously cooked may yield a lower GI effect. In the UK, potatoes are not considered by the National Health Service, NHS, as counting or contributing towards the recommended daily 5 portions of fruits and vegetables with 5 a day program. Tablespoons of kindly potatoes like the other major substitutes, even measures spectrum velocity, and the tablespoons do not commonly eaten raw. These brown or brown for eaten Eating and sprouted cooked form, relative nutrition and anti-nutritional content of these maybe okay. Two for the greatest amount hungry. Okay, my portions, I know I'm going to be reading the entire potato wiki, but I'm not reading all the tables, okay? We gotta read words, goddammit. Ooh, no, not toxicity. Potatoes contain toxic compounds known as glycoalkaloids, which the most prevalent are solanine and chaconine. Solanine is found in other plants in the same family, Solanaceae, which includes such plants as deadly nightshade, Atropa belladonna, henbane, Hyoscyamus, Nigeria, and tobacco, Nicotiana aspipit, as well as the food plant eggplant, and tomato. These compounds, which protect the potato plant from its predators, are generally concentrated in its leaf, flowers, sprouts, and fruits. Whereas in contrast to the tubers. A summary of several studies. The glycoalkaloid content was highest in the flowers and sprouts and lowest in the tuber flesh. Glycoalkaloid content was in order from highest to lowest: flowers, sprouts, leaves, tuber skin, roots, berries, peel, skin plus outer cortex of tuber flesh, stems, and tuber flesh. Exposure to light, physical damage, and age increased glycoalkaloid content within the tuber. Cooking at high temperatures over 70 Celsius partly destroys compounds. Glycoalkaloids in wild potatoes is sufficient to produce toxic effects in humans. Glycoalkaloid poisoning may cause headaches, diarrhea, cramps, and in severe cases, coma and death. However, poisoning from potato varieties is very rare. Light exposure causes greening from chlorophyll, synthesis giving a visual clue as which may have become more toxic. However, this is not a definitive guide, as greening and glycoalkaloid can occur independently of each other. Different potato varieties contain different levels of glycoalkaloids. The Lennate variety was released in 1967, but was drawn in 1970 as it contained high levels of glycoalkaloids. Since then, breeders developed new varieties to test for this, and sometimes have to discard an otherwise promising cultivar. Breeders try to keep glycoalkaloid levels below 20 milligrams per kilograms, 20 ppmw. However, when these commercial varieties turn green, they can still approach solid concentrations of 1,000 milligrams kilograms, 1,000 ppmw in normal potatoes. Analysis has shown solanine levels may be as little as 3.5% of the breeder's maximum, almost 187 mg/kg being found. While a potato tuber has 12-20 kilograms of glycoalkaloid content, a green potato tuber contains 25-280 milligrams kilograms. The skin has 15,000 to 220,000 milligrams kilograms. We're getting there. We are fucking getting there. Growth and cultivation: seed potatoes. Potatoes are generally grown from seed potatoes. Tubers specifically grown to be free from disease and provide consistent and healthy plants. To be disease-free, the areas where the seed potatoes are grown are selected with care. In the U.S., this restricts production of seed potatoes to only 15 states out of all 50 states where potatoes are grown. These locations are selected for their cold, hard winters that kill pests and summers with long sunshine hours for optimal growth. In the UK, most seed potatoes originate in Scotland, areas where westerly winds reduce aphid attack and the spread of potato virus pathogens. Potato growth can be divided into 5 phases. During the first phase, sprouts emerge from the seed potatoes and growth begins. During the second, photosynthesis begins as the potato leaves and branches above the ground, and stolons develop from lower leaf axils and the below ground stem. In the third phase, the tips of the stolons swell, forming new tubers, and the shoots continue to grow, and flowers typically develop soon after. Tuber bulking occurs during the fourth phase, when the plant begins investing the majority of its resources in its newly formed tubers. At this phase, several factors are critical critical to a good yield. Optimal soil moisture, temperature, soil nutrient availability be balanced, and resistance to pest attacks. The fifth phase is the maturation of the tubers. The plant canopy dies back, the tuber skins harden into sugars, and the tuber convert to starches. New tubers may start growing at the surface of the soil, so exposure to light leads to an undesirable greening of the skins, and while solanine is a protection from the sun's rays, growers cover surface tubers. Also, growers can remember applying additional soil around the blades of the plant as it grows, called hilling up, or in British English, earthing up, an alternative method used by home gardeners and smaller scale growers, allows covering the growing area with organic mulches such as straw or plastic sheets. Wait. Plastic is organic? This just sounds synthetic to me, boy. Correct potato husbandry. Yes. You may now kiss the potato. An arduous task in some circumstances. Good ground preparation, harrowing, plowing, and rolling are always needed, along with a little grace from the weather and a good source of water. 3 successive plowings with associated harrowing and rolling are desirable before planting. Eliminating all root weeds is desirable in potato cultivation. In general, the potatoes themselves are grown from the eyes of another potato, not from seed. Home gardeners often plant a piece of potato with 2 or 3 eyes in a hill of mounded soil. Commercial growers plant potatoes as a row crop using seed tubers. Young plants or microtubers may mound the entire row. Seed potato crops are rowed in some countries to eliminate diseased plants or those of a variety from the seed crop. Potatoes are sensitive to heavy frost, which damages them in the ground. Even cold weather makes it more susceptible to bruising and possibly later rotting, which can quickly ruin a large stored crop. Getting there. So historically significant Phytophthora that infest in late blight remains an ongoing problem in Europe. In the United States, other potato diseases include Rhizoctonia, Sclerotinia, black leg, powdery mildew, powdery scab, and leaf roll virus. Insects that commonly transmit potato disease or damage to plants include the Colorado potato beetle and the potato tuber moth. The green peach aphid, Mysis periscae, and potato aphid, Tuta absoluta, beet leaf hoppers, thrips, and mice. The potato cyst nematode is a microscopic worm that thrives on the roots, thus causing potato plants to wilt. Since its eggs can survive in 12 years, crop rotation is recommended. It is highly recommended. Then the crop year 2008, many of the certified organic potatoes, introduced in the UK, certified by the Soil Association as organic, were sprayed with a copper pesticide to control potato blight. Phytophthora infestant, according to the Soil Association, the total copper that can be applied to the organic land is 6 kilograms HA, according to an environmental working group analysis of USDA and FDA pesticide residue tests performed from 2008 to 2018. 84% of the 2,216 tested potato samples contain detectable traces of at least one pesticide. A total of 36 unique pesticides were detected on potatoes over the 2,216 samples, though no individual sample contained more than 6 unique pesticide traces, and the average was 1.29 detectable unique pesticide traces per sample. The average quantity of all pesticide traces found in the 2,216 sample was 1.602 ppm. While this was a very low value of pesticide residue, it was the highest amongst the 50 vegetables analyzed. At harvest time, gardeners usually dig up potatoes with a long-handled 3-pronged grape, or a grape, i.e. a spading fork, or a potato hook, which is similar to the grape, but with tines of a 9-degree angle to the handle. In larger plots, the plow is the fastest implement for unearthing potatoes. Commercial harvesting is typically done with large potato harvesters, which come out the plant and surrounding earth is transferred up an apron chain consisting of steel links several feet wide, which separates some of the dirt. The chain deposits into an area where further separation occurs. Different designs use different systems at this point. The most complex designs use vine choppers and shakers along with blower system to separate the potatoes from the plant. The result is then usually run past workers who contain the straw plant material, stones, and rotten potatoes. Before the potatoes are continuously delivered to a wagon or truck, truck. Further inspection and separation occurs when the potatoes are unloaded from the field vehicles and put into storage. Amateur potatoes may be sold as creamer potatoes and are particularly valued for taste. These are often harvested by a home gardener. The home gardener farmer by grabbing, i.e. pulling out the grabbling, i.e. pulling out the young tubers by hand while leaving the plant in place. A creamer potato is a variety of potato harvested before it matures to keep it small and tender. Tender. It is generally either a Yukon Gold potato or a red potato called gold creamers or red creamers respectively, and measures approximately 2.5 centimeters, 1 inch in diameter. The skin of creamer potatoes is waxy and high in moisture content, and the flesh contains a lower level of starch than other potatoes. Like potatoes in general, they can be prepared by boiling, baking, frying, and roasting. Slightly older than creamer potatoes are new potatoes, which are also prized for their taste and texture and often come from the same varieties. Potatoes are usually cured after harvest to improve skin set. Skin set is the process by which the skin of the potato becomes resistant to skinning damage. Potato tubers may be susceptible to skinning at harvest and suffer skinning damage during harvest and handling operations. Curing allows the skin to fully set and wounds to heal. Wound healing prevents infection and water loss from the tubers during storage. Curing is normally done at relatively warm temperatures, 10 to 16 Celsius or 50 to 60 Fahrenheit, with high humidity and good gas exchange if at all possible. Storage facilities need to be carefully designed to keep potatoes alive and slow the natural process of decomposition, which involves the breakdown of starch. Coastal storage areas, dark, ventilated well, and for long-term storage, maintained at temperatures near 4 Celsius or 39 Fahrenheit for short-term storage. Temperatures of about 7 to 10 Celsius, 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit are preferred. On the other hand, temperatures below 4 Celsius, 39 degrees Fahrenheit, convert the starch in potatoes into sugar, which alters their taste and cooking quality and leads to higher acrylamide levels in the cooked product, especially in deep-fried dishes. The discovery of an acrylamide in starchy foods in 2002 has led to international health concerns. They lead to be probable carcinogens, and their occurrence in cooked foods is being studied for potentially influencing health problems. Under optimal conditions, commercial warehouses, potatoes can be stored for up to 10-12 months. The commercial storage and retrieval of potatoes involves several phases. First, drying surface moisture, wound healing at 85 to 95%, relative humidity and temperatures below 25%, 77%. Wait, why am I reading this in percents? 85% to 95% relative humidity and temperatures below 25 degrees Celsius, 77 degrees Fahrenheit. SH cooling phase, the holding phase, or reconditioning phase, during which tubers are slowly warmed. Mechanical ventilation is used at various points during the process to prevent condensation and accumulation of carbon dioxide. If potatoes develop green areas or start to sprout, trimming or pulling any of those green colored parts is inadequate to remove co-present toxins, and such potatoes are no longer edible. Yield. The world dedicated 18.6 million hectares, 46 million acres, to potato cultivation in 2010. The average yield is 17.4 tons per hectare, 7.8 short tons per acre. The United States was the most productive country with a nationwide average yield of 44.3 tons per hectare, 19.8 short tons per acre. United Kingdom was a close second. New Zealand farmers have demonstrated some of the best commercial yields in the world, ranging between 60 and 80 tons per hectare. Some yields of 88 tons of potatoes per hectare. There is a big gap among various countries between high and low yields, even with the same variety of potato, where average potato yields also in developed economies ranges between 38 and 44 tons per hectare. China and India accounted for over a third of the world's production in 2010 and had yields of 14.7 and 19.9 tons per hectare, respectively. The yield gap between farms in developing countries and developed economies represent an opportunity loss of over 400 million tons of potato, or an amount greater than 2010 world potato production. Potato crops yield are determined by factors such as crop breed, seed age and quality, crop management practices, and the plant environment improvements in one or more of these yield determinants, and the closure of the yield gap can be raised risk to food supply and farmer incomes in the developing world. Global warming is predicted to have significant effects on global potato production. Like many crops, potatoes are likely to be affected by changes in atmospheric carbon dioxide, temperature, and precipitation, as well as interacts between these factors, as well as affecting potatoes directly. Climate change will also affect the distributions and problems related to potato diseases and pests. I'm really questioning my choices here more so than I was before. Cause yep, here my dumbass is reading the entire potato Wikipedia. Why in the hell would someone spend their time reading the potato Wikipedia? It makes no fucking sense. I don't get it. Anyway, where was I? Of many potato diseases and pests, potato is one of the world's most important food crops. Potato production must be adapted to climate change to avoid reductions in crop yields. Potatoes are prepared in many ways: skinned or peeled, whole or cut up, with seasoning or without. No requirement involves cooking to swell the starch granules. Most potatoes are served hot, but some are first cooked, then served cold, notably potato salad. I hate potato salad. And potato chips. Crisps. Common dishes are mashed potatoes, which are first boiled, usually peeled and then mashed with milk or yogurt and butter. Whole baked potatoes, boiled or steamed potatoes, French fried. Potatoes are chips, which were made in Belgium. Why is it French? Cut into cubes and roasted, scalloped, diced, or sliced and fried home fries. Grated small thin strips and fried hash browns and grated and formed into dumplings, rusty or potato pancakes. Unlike many foods, potatoes can be easily cooked in a microwave oven and still retain nearly all of their nutritional value, provided they are covered in ventilated plastic wrap to prevent moisture from escaping. This method produces a meal very similar to a steamed potato. Hardening the appearance of a conventionally baked potato. Potato chunks also commonly appear as a stew ingredient. Potatoes are boiled between 10 and 25 minutes, depending on size type, to become soft. Potatoes are used for purposes other than eating by humans. Means holy shit, we're almost there. Okay. Potatoes used to brew alcohol beverages, vodka, co-poison, or agavit. They are also used as fodder for livestock. Livestock-grade potatoes considered too small or blemished to sell or market for human use, but suitable for fodder use. Have been called chats in some dialects. They may be stored in bins until used. They are sometimes in silos. Some farmers prefer to steam steamed hams them rather than feed them raw, and are equipped to do so efficiently. Here starts used in food industries as a thickener and binder for soups and sauces, and the textile industry as an adhesive, and for the manufacturing of paper and boards. Main companies are exploring the possibilities of using waste potatoes to obtain polylactic acid for use in plastic products. Other plastic waste use starches and bakes for biodegradable packaging. Potato skins, along with honey, are a folk remedy for burns in India. Burn centuries in India have experimented with use of thin outer skin layer to protect burns while healing. Potatoes, mainly russets, are commonly used in plant research. The consistent parenchyma use, the clonal nature of the plant, and low metabolic activity provide a very nice model tissue for experimentation. Responses are often done on potato tuber tissue as known as our electron transport experiment. In this respect, potato tuber is similar to Drosophila melanogaster, Cyanora habitis elegans, or Escherichia coli. They're all standard research organisms. Potatoes have been delivered with personalized messages as a novelty. Potato delivery services include potato parcel and mail a spud. What the fuck? I'm gonna have to try that shit out. I'm gonna mail a potato to somebody. Peruvian cuisine naturally contains the potato as a primary ingredient in many dishes, as around 3,000 of this tuber are grown there. Okay, start over. Naturally contains potatoes as a primary ingredient in many dishes, as around 3,000 varieties of this tuber are grown there. Some of the more notable dishes include boiled potato as a base for several dishes, or with algae-based sauces like in papa a la huancaña, or okapa. It's potato for its use in soups like in cacao, or in carapulca with dried potato, papa seca. Smashed condimented potato is used in casa limeña and papa rellena. French fried potatoes are a typical ingredient in Peruvian stir-fries, including the classic dish lomo saltado. Chuño is a freeze-dried potato product traditionally made by Quechua and Aymara communities of Peru and Bolivia, and is known in various countries of South America, including Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile. In Chile's Chiloé archipelago, potatoes are the main ingredients in many dishes, including locales, chapelillos, carranto, and chochoca. In Ecuador, the potato, as well as being a staple of most dishes, is featured in the hearty locro de papa as a thick soup of potato, squash, and cheese. In the UK, potatoes form part of the traditional staple fish and chips. Roast potatoes are commonly served as a part of a Sunday roast dinner. And mashed potatoes form a major component of several other dishes such as shepherd's pie, bubble, and squeak. Well, bangers, mashed sausage, and potatoes. I know that one. Yeah, boy. That was fucking delicious, man. I kind of want some bangers and mash. New potatoes may be cooked with mint and are often served with butter. The tatty scone is a popular Scottish dish containing potatoes. Colcannon is a traditional Irish food made with mashed potatoes, shredded kale, or cabbage and onion. Champ is a similar dish. Boxty pancakes are eaten throughout Ireland, although it's associated, especially with the Northern Irish diaspora communities, they are essentially made with grated potatoes. I was looking at this, it looks kind of satisfying. Look at it. Here's some made of grated potatoes soaked to loosen starch and mixed with flour, buttermilk, and baking powder, and very eaten, sold in Lancashire, especially Liverpool, is made with collected mashed potatoes. In the UK, game chips are a traditional accompaniment to roast game birds such as pheasant, grouse, partridge, and quail. Halushki are the national dish of many Slavic nations. Haluski dumplings, I'm going to assume that it's just haluski. Dumplings are made from a batter consisting of flour and grated potatoes. In Germany, northern Finland, Latvia, and especially Scandinavian countries, Eastern Europe, Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine, and Poland, newly harvested early ripening varieties are considered a special delicacy, boiled whole and served unpeeled with dill. These new potatoes are traditionally consumed with Baltic herring. Puddings made from grated potatoes, kugelis, and potato babka. That was pretty good. and are popularized of Ashkenazi, see Lithuanian and Belarusian in cuisine. Potato is by putting different green potatoes, kugel, potato. Okay. German fried potatoes and various versions of potato salad are part of German cuisine. Scene. Bauernfrühstück, literally farmer's breakfast. It's a warm German dish made from fried potatoes, eggs, ham, and vegetables. Cipolline is a Lithuanian national dish. They are a type of dumpling made from grated raw potatoes, boiled in water, and usually stuffed with minced meat. Although sometimes dry cottage cheese, curd, and mushrooms are used instead. In Western Europe, especially in Belgium, sliced potatoes are fried to create frieten, the original French fried potatoes. Stamppot, a traditional Dutch meal. Some mashed potatoes mixed with vegetables. In France, the most notable potatoes is hachis parmentières. They are named after Antoine Augustin Parmentier, a French pharmacist, nutritionist, and ergonomist who in the late 18th century instrumental in the acceptance of potatoes as an edible crop in the country. Pâté aux pommes de terre. Pâté aux pommes de terre is a regional potato dish from the central Allier and Limousin regions. Gratin dauphinoise, consisting of baked thinly sliced potatoes with cream or milk, and tartiflette with reblochon cheese are also widespread. In the north of Italy, in particular the Friuli region of the northwest, potatoes served to make a type of pasta called gnocchi. Gnocchi. Similarly, cooked and mashed potatoes or potato flour can be used in a noodle or dumpling, eaten with or added to meat dishes all over Central and Eastern Europe, but especially in Bavaria and Luxembourg. Potatoes form one of the main grains of many soups such as vichy sauce, and Albanian potato and cabbage soup in western Norway. Comblé is popular. A traditional Canary Islands is the Canarian with potatoes or papas or dugadas. Tortilla de patatas, potato omelet, or patatas bravas, has a dish of fried potatoes, spiced tomatoes, are near universal constitute of Spanish tapas. U.S. potatoes have become one of the most widely consumed crops in the variety of preparation methods and condiments. French fries and often hash browns are commonly found in typical American fast food burger joints and cafeterias. One popular favorite involves a baked potato with cheddar cheese or sour cream and chives on top. While the New England mashed potatoes, chunky a variation of mashed potatoes, retaining the peel, have a great popularity. Potato flakes are popular as an instant variety of mashed potatoes, which we constitute into mashed potatoes by adding water with butter, oil, and salt to taste. A regional dish of central New York, salt potatoes are bite-sized new potatoes boiled in water saturated with salt, then served with melted butter. At more formal dinners, the common practice was taking small red potatoes, slicing them, roasting them in a skillet among American Jews. Practice of eating latkes, because is common during the festival of Hanukkah. This Acadian dish from New Brunswick is known as poutine. The Acadian and poutine is a ball of grain and mashed potato. Salt is thin and sometimes filled with pork. Center below the salt is a moist ball about the size of a baseball. It is commonly eaten with salt and pepper or brown sugar. Brown sugar. These are words from the German Klubbe. Early German settlers who lived among the Acadians. Poutine, by contrast, is a hearty serving French fries. Fresh cheese curds. Cheese curds. Hot gravy, by the way. I've always wanted to fucking try poutine. Traced its origins to Quebec in the 1950s, became a very popular dish throughout Canada. Potato grain for Idaho potatoes is formed in which number 1 potatoes are the highest quality, number 2 are rated as lower in quality due to their appearance, e.g. blemishes, bruises, pointy ends. Tendency assessment can be performed by floating them in brines. High-density potatoes are desirable in the production of dehydrated mashed potato, crust, and french fries. In South Asia, the potato is a very popular traditional staple. In India, the most popular potato dishes are aloo ki sabzi, see batata vada, and samosa, which is spicy mashed potato mixed with a small amount of vegetable, stuffed in conical dough, and deep-fried. Potatoes are also a major ingredient as fast food items, such as aloo chaat, where they are deep-fried and served with chutney. In northern India, aloo dum and aloo paratha are a favorite part of the diet. The first is a spicy curry of boiled potatoes, second is a type of stuffed chapati. A dish called masala dosa from South India is very notable all over India. So it is a thin pancake made of rice and pulse batter rolled over spicy mashed potato and eaten with sambar and chutney. Puri in South India, in particular in Tamil, Nadu is almost always taken with mashed potato masala. Other favorite dishes are aloo tikki and pakoda items. Vada pav is a popular vegetarian fast food dish in Mumbai and other regions in Maharashtra and India. Aloo posto, a curry with potatoes and poppy seeds, is immensely popular in East India, especially Bengal. Although potatoes are native to India, it's become a vital part of food all over the country, especially North and Indian food. The aloo gosht preparation. Tell me. I'm going to do this to require a name based on spirits. Ulaike kazangu, meaning cylindrical tuber. The aloo gosht potato and meat curry is one of the popular dishes in South Asia, especially in Pakistan. In East Asia, particularly Southeast Asia, rice is by far the predominant starch crop, with potatoes as a secondary crop, especially in China and Japan, over used in northern China. Rice is easily grown, with a popular dish being Qingjiao made with green pepper, vinegar, and thin slices of potato. In the winter, while settlers in northern China will also sell roasted potatoes, it is good to be seen. It is also occasionally seen in Korean and Thai cuisines. The potato has been an essential crop in the Andes since the pre-Columbian era. The Moquia culture from northern Peru made ceramics from the earth, water, and fire. This pottery was a sacred substance formed in significant shapes and used to represent important themes. Potatoes are represented anthropomorphically as well as naturally. Okay, that's weird. Why would you want anthropomorphic potatoes? During the late 19th century, numerous images of potato harvesting appeared in European art, including the works of Willem Whitson and Anton Mauve. Van Gogh's 1885 painting Potato Eaters portrays a family eating potatoes. Van Gogh wanted to depict peasants as they really were. He deliberately chose coarse and ugly models, thinking that they would be natural and spoiled in his finished work. Jean Flacroix's Millet, the potato harvest, depicts peasants working in the plains between Barbizon and Chailly. It presents a theme representative of the peasant's struggle for survival. Millet's technique for this work incorporated paste-like pigments thickly applied over a coarsely textured canvas. In popular culture or pop culture, invented in 1949 and marketed and sold commercially by Hasbro in 1954, Mr. Potato Head is an American toy. He consists of a plastic potato and attachable plastic parts such as ears, eyes, to make a face. It was his first toy ever advertised on television. That's cool. Potatoes are considered spiritually important in some sects of Buddhism. We're done. It's over. It's done. We fucking did. I read the entire potato wiki. Save for that table, but fuck that table. People actually, would advise against fucking tables. Anyway. Fuck this shit. I'm going to bed. It's 3:50 a.m. I am going to sleep now. Actually, probably not. Probably gonna be up all day. Fuck no. Alright.